Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and record 1 and 2 step equations in case you need it as a review. Remember that we're trying to isolate the variable. So we want to subtract 12 on this first problem from both sides to get that m is equal to -2. On number 2, we want to add 9 to both sides. That gets us that g is equal to 7. Now remember, what we're doing here is we're removing the constant terms by zeroing them out. That's different from numbers 3 and 4, where in numbers 3 and 4 we have a coefficient that we're trying to remove, and those we will do by trying to make them 1. So here we will divide by -7 to both sides to get that y is equal to 13. And in number 4 we'll be multiplying by 9 on both sides to get that a is equal to -36. This is a review of one-step equations. It took 1 step to solve. Sometimes you have one-step equations that have a fraction coefficient. Since we are technically supposed to be dividing by 2/3, well, dividing by 2/3 is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal of 2/3. So dividing by 2/3 is synonymous with multiplying by 3/2 on both sides. They mean the same thing. Just like dividing by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3/2. That will allow these two cancel out and become 1x, or just x, and that's equal to 30/2, or 15. Taking a look at a negative coefficient, negative fraction coefficient, no different. We've got -6/5 multiplying to k. So I'm going to multiply by -5/6. Notice how it's still negative because I want this to become 1k. And the way for it to become 1k is to multiply by the reciprocal. Multiplicative inverses have a product of 1. So now it's 1k, or just k, and that's equal to -10. Multiplying both sides by -5/6. For a 2-step equation, those are the equations that require 2 steps to get the variable by itself. You'll always undo the constant first by using addition and subtraction. Your constant term is just the number with no variable. And that usually gets unraveled first by zeroing it out with adding or subtracting. Second, you undo the multiplication and division by, you undo the multiplication and division. That's helping you remove the coefficient. The coefficient is the number in front of the variable, the number multiplying or dividing with the variable. Okay, so looking at 12 here, I see my variable on my left side, and I see my constant of a +7. I'm going to zero that out by subtracting 7. So that will make 0, or 0 minus 3y, which is simply -3y, and that's equal to 27. Now I'll divide both sides by -3 to get that y is equal to -9. Now these are all self-checking. You can take that -9 and plug it right back in. Follow the order of operations to make sure you get 34. Working through 13 here, I've got a constant term of -7. I'm going to go ahead and zero that out by adding 7 to both sides. That gets me x divided by 2 is equal to 16. And now to isolate x, I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides, which gets me x is equal to 32. Hopping over to 18. I've got my variable on my right side with my constant of 9. So let's zero that out by subtracting 9 on both sides. That has 15 minus 9, which is 6. That's equal to -1/2 x. I'm going to multiply by my reciprocal of -2/1 on both sides. That will make this become a +1x, which is what I want, because a negative times a negative is a positive. And that's equal to -12. For the problems in 19 through 22, we have to be very careful. They look a little bit different. And what looks different is the fact that there is this large fraction bar with an expression in the numerator and a value in the denominator set equal to the answer, okay, -3 here. And they're different in that the multiplication and division must be done first, followed by the addition and subtraction. So if you think about this, x plus 11 is being divided by 8, and that equals -3. I cannot get to x or 11 because of this division of 8. So in order to unravel this, I must multiply by 8 first on both sides, and that's going to be the same as x plus 11 is equal to -24. I've multiplied both sides by 8 so that these 8s will cross-reduce off. I almost unlock the x plus 11. Now it's unlocked. It's free. I can subtract 11 now. I couldn't do it before, but I've rebalanced, and that's now -24. So now I can subtract 11 on both sides to get x is equal to -35. And that concludes your review on solving 1 and 2 step equations.